The slap cracked through the first-class cabin, sharp enough to silence every conversation. The black passenger did not raise his voice. He only touched the old silver watch in his pocket and asked, "Are you certain this is how you want to handle this?" Why had the flight attendant decided his ticket could not possibly belong to him? Why did the captain accept her story without checking a single fact? And why, exactly 4 minutes later, did airport police flood the aisle, then stop cold when they saw his face? What happened next would expose far more than one cruel mistake, so stay until the final door opened. "Phones stay up," the man in seat 2A said. "No one needs to move." The silver watch in his palm ticked beneath the ventilation hum. Its second hand crossed scratched glass while the cabin held still. The red-haired flight attendant stood in the aisle, one hand against her chest. "He lunged at me," a woman across the aisle said. "He never left his seat." "Ma'am, remain quiet." "No, not this time." Footsteps hammered the jet bridge. The aircraft door swung wider, letting in cold air and the smell of rain and fuel. 4 airport officers entered. Their leader raised a hand. "Everyone stay seated. Sir, show me your hands." The man set the watch on his knee and lifted both palms. "They've been visible the whole time," a young passenger said from row 3, still recording. "I have everything." The senior flight attendant moved forward. He refused instructions, became hostile, and tried to grab me. "That's false," 3 voices answered. Lieutenant Sofia Alvarez stepped into the aisle. 44, compact. Rain darkening the shoulders of her uniform, she looked at the attendant, then at the man in 2A. Her next step stopped. The lights buzzed overhead. Sophia's expression changed from command to recognition. "Sir," she began. He pointed toward the phones. "Before names, Lieutenant. Preserve the recordings." Sophia turned. "Get witness names. No devices leave this cabin. Nobody deletes anything." The attendant's jaw tightened. "Why are you taking orders from him?" "I'm preserving evidence." The man picked up the watch. The metal was warm now, though his cheek still burned. He rubbed his thumb over the engraved lid. "What time was the call placed?" An officer checked his tablet. 6:58. "And your arrival?" 7:02. 4 minutes. "He's delaying departure on purpose," the attendant said. The older woman gave a dry laugh. "You delayed it when you decided his ticket wasn't good enough." "Stop speaking for him. He shouldn't have to speak alone." Sophia crouched beside 2A. "Are you hurt?" "I can answer questions." "That isn't what I asked." He looked through the open door. Gray daylight spread across the wet terminal windows. A clock above the gate read 7:04. He closed the watch with a soft click. "I have somewhere I promised to be." The young passenger lowered his phone an inch. "Do you know him?" Sophia did not answer. Her eyes moved to the worn leather satchel in the overhead bin, its brass clasp visible above the attendant's shoulder. The man noticed. "Leave the bag there." "Why?" the attendant demanded. "Because no one touches my property again." Silence settled, except for rain tapping the windows. Sophia stood. "Captain stays in the cockpit. Crew remains aboard. Passenger interviews begin now." "You can't hold this plane for one man." Sophia looked at the face in 2A, then at the watch in his hand. "This plane is already being held," she said. "The question is why." 47 minutes earlier, before the slap, before the cameras, before anyone aboard knew what the worn watch meant, Marcus Reed stood alone in a dark municipal office, buttoning his coat while his daughter's final voicemail played. At 6:11 a.m., Marcus Reed replayed the voicemail while rain drew lines down the municipal office windows. "Dad, the oath starts at 10. Not 10-ish. 10. And bring Mom's watch. Talia's voice held a smile, but the pause afterward did not. Marcus set his phone beside 3 unsigned folders. The building's heat had not come on. Cold pressed through his charcoal sweater. A floor polisher whined beyond the door. He opened the silver watch. Under the desk lamp, the engraving caught the light. For our next important day. Still keeping me accountable, he murmured. The door opened. Renee Lawson entered with 2 coffees and a tablet under her elbow. Her braids were knotted tight, her steps quick. You're supposed to be gone. I am going. You're signing things. That is what people say before missing flights. She turned 1 cup so the handle faced him. The 7:30 is full. Weather is slowing departures. Security offered a car and 2 officers through the private entrance. Marcus slid the folders into a drawer. No motorcade, no officers. You are the mayor. Today, I'm Talia's father. You said that at her graduation. I got there. During the letter P. His phone rang. Talia appeared in a navy blouse, 1 earring on, legal folders across her table. Show me the watch. Marcus held it up. Open it. He did. Her gaze fixed on the engraving. She would have polished it, Talia said. She would have said the scratches proved it was used. She would have been there already. Someone behind her called that the courthouse car was waiting. I'll be in the front row, Marcus said. You always say front row. This time I bought the ticket myself. That isn't the reassuring part. The radiator clicked once without giving heat. I know. Talia fastened her second earring. 10 o'clock. 10. And no speech. 1 sentence. 0. Then I'll clap. You clap like you're approving a zoning amendment. Renee turned away, hiding a smile. Bring the watch, Dad. It's packed. When the call ended, Marcus wrapped the watch in cloth and placed it inside his worn leather satchel. He pressed the stubborn clasp twice until it caught. Renee handed him a boarding pass. Seat 2A, direct flight. The car is downstairs. Regular entrance? Regular entrance. And cancel the detail. I reduced it. 2. 1 car following. Renee, you cannot disappear into an airport alone. I want one morning when nobody stands because I enter a room. The elevator chimed. There's a council call at noon, Renee said. Move everything. She stopped. As the doors closed, he handed her the untouched coffee. Drink this before it becomes evidence. Evidence of what? That you were right about the time. The elevator descended through fluorescent light. The mirror showed a plain sweater, tired eyes, no lapel pin. The watch pressed against his ribs with every floor. Outside, rain hissed against the curb. An unmarked sedan waited beneath the awning, but he walked past it to a rideshare beyond the cameras. His phone buzzed. Front row. No excuses. Marcus typed, "Save me the seat." He climbed into the car with the satchel against his chest, carrying the promise he could not break. At 6:43 a.m., Marcus stepped out beneath the airport canopy and pulled his coat collar against the rain. Automatic doors breathed warm air over him, carrying the smell of coffee, wet wool, and floor cleaner. He checked the board. Belhaven to Ashford, on time. His phone buzzed. Front row, Talia had written. He replied, boarding soon, then tucked the phone away before Renee could call. By 7:02, Marcus reached Gate 18 with rain beating on his shoulders. He bought black coffee and stood near the windows while a ground crew moved through silver mist below. The old watch rested inside his satchel beside the boarding pass Talia had once printed, with 2 words across the back. No excuses. First-class passengers may board. Marcus joined the short line. At the aircraft door, a woman in a fitted Navy uniform held out her hand. Pass." He gave it to her. Her eyes moved from the paper to his charcoal sweater, then back to the name. Dana Whitmore, 39, wore her auburn hair in a precise twist and kept one thumbnail pressed against the ticket's edge. "Marcus Reed?" "That's right." She scanned it. The device chimed green. "Wait here." Passengers stopped behind him. A suitcase wheel clicked against the threshold. "Is there a problem?" Marcus asked. Dana studied the screen. "This says 2A. "That's the seat I purchased." "I can read." A man behind Marcus cleared his throat. Dana ignored him and entered the name manually. The coffee cooled in Marcus's hand while the line bent along the jet bridge wall. "Did someone else get the seat?" "I said wait." The silver-haired woman behind him leaned toward the screen. "It turned green." Dana looked up. "Ma'am, remain in line." "I am in line." Marcus shifted aside. "You can let them pass while you check. Do not direct boarding." "I'm trying not to hold anyone up." "That is not your responsibility." A second crew member appeared from the galley, broad-shouldered and gray at the temples. "Everything all right?" "Possible seating mismatch," Dana said. Marcus held up the pass. The scanner accepted it. The man glanced at the green light. "Let him take the seat, Dana. We can verify after boarding." She kept the pass another beat before returning it. "Seat 2A. Keep the aisle clear." Marcus met her eyes. "Thank you." The silver-haired woman followed him inside. "You were more polite than I would have been." "That usually keeps mornings shorter." "Not always." She introduced herself as Elaine Porter, 66, a retired school principal. Her seat was 2C across the aisle. Marcus stowed his satchel overhead, but kept his phone and coffee. The leather clasp caught on the bin lip, and he adjusted it until the bag lay flat. "Important cargo?" Elaine asked. "A family promise." He settled into 2A beside the rain-streaked window. Outside, orange safety lights smeared across wet pavement. Dana moved down the aisle, checking bins, then stopped beside him. "Sir, I need to see that boarding pass again." Marcus looked at the untouched coffee, now barely warm, and handed her the same paper. Behind Dana, another passenger entered without being stopped. This time, she did not scan Marcus's ticket. She simply stared at his name. Dana held the boarding pass between two fingers. "Your seat is not confirmed." Marcus glanced at the printed line. "It says 2A. The system can assign seats incorrectly. The scanner accepted it twice. That does not settle the matter." Elaine shifted in 2C, her handbag creaking against her coat. "You let the man behind him board without checking anything." Dana turned. "Ma'am, this does not involve you." "It did when you blocked the aisle." A young man in row 3 angled his phone toward them. Noah Kim, 27, slim and wearing round glasses, watched with a sound engineer's focus. Dana noticed. "No recording. I'm checking a message." "Then keep it down." Marcus placed the pass on his tray table. "What do you need to verify?" "Move to 31B while we sort this out." "No." Her eyebrows lifted. "I paid for this seat. You have the ticket, receipt, and scan. I'll wait here while you verify." "You are refusing a crew instruction." "I'm asking which rule requires me to surrender a valid seat." Cold air brushed his damp collar. Coffee and cleaner hung in the cabin. Dana stepped closer, her shoes clicking against the floor. "People are waiting." Marcus looked past her. The aisle was clear except for Dana. "Then let them pass." Grant Bell returned from the galley. "What now?" "Duplicate seat," Dana said. Grant checked the screen by the door. "I see one passenger in 2A." "Refresh it." He did. A green confirmation appeared beside Marcus Reed. "There," Marcus said. The manifest can lag, Dana replied. Do you have the purchase email? Marcus opened it on his phone. Seat 2A. Paid in full. Same flight. Looks valid, Grant said. Dana did not touch the phone. Screenshots can be edited. It isn't a screenshot. Noah raised his device slightly. The timestamp is live. Put that away. He lowered it, but the red recording dot remained reflected in the rain-dark window. Marcus's thumb covered the printed seat number. He moved it and stared at the ink as though the paper might have changed. Elaine saw. Do you want my seat? She asked quietly. I can switch. No, you shouldn't have to. Dana took the boarding pass. I'm contacting the gate. Grant exhaled. Let them confirm it. She disappeared into the front galley. Boarding resumed. Suitcase wheels bumped over the threshold. Bins thudded, and wet coats warmed the cabin. Elaine leaned toward Marcus. She's looking for a different answer. I know. Why are you so calm? He glanced at the overhead bin where his worn satchel rested. Because I have somewhere else to be. His phone lit with Talia's message. They're setting up the courtroom now. Marcus typed. Still on schedule. Before he could send it, Dana returned with Grant behind her. She held his pass, but no phone. The gate is checking, she said. Until then, relocate. Did they say the ticket was invalid? They said they would call back. Then I'll wait. Donna's mouth tightened. This is your final opportunity to cooperate. Across the aisle, Noah's phone remained pointed toward the carpet, recording every word. Grant looked at the green confirmation still glowing on the crew screen and said nothing. Then the interphone beside Dana rang. The interphone rang twice before Dana snatched it from the cradle. Gate 18, a woman said. Marcus Reed is confirmed in 2A. Paid first class. No duplicate. No upgrade error. Grant looked at the crew screen. There. We're done. Dana kept the receiver to her ear. Are you certain? Yes. His identification matched at security and boarding. Send it in writing. I'm looking at it now. Send it. Dana hung up. Marcus set the boarding pass beside his coffee. So the seat is confirmed. The ticket is, Dana said. Your conduct is now the concern. Elaine turned. His conduct? You've challenged crew instructions. I asked for the rule, Marcus said. You argued. I asked a question. Noah's phone rested against his knee, camera aimed down. In the window, the red recording dot glowed. Grant lowered his voice. Dana, we have confirmation. Let's close the door. You heard him refuse. I heard him ask to stay in the seat he bought. The galley printer clicked. Grant tore free a paper strip. Passenger Reed Marcus, seat 2A. Confirmed. The ventilation hissed. Donna folded the paper twice and slipped it into her apron pocket. That does not excuse disruptive behavior. May I have a copy? Marcus asked. No, internal document. Elaine unfastened her belt. Then I'd like the captain. Sit down. I was sitting until you changed the accusation. Donna blocked the aisle. This conversation is over. Marcus turned his phone face up. Talia's message waited beneath the time. They're opening the courtroom doors. He typed, boarding delay. I'm still coming. Donna saw the screen. Put the phone away. It's in airplane mode. I said put it away. Boarding is still open. Your device use is escalating this. Noah looked up. He's texting. Dana pointed at him. You are recording without permission. I'm recording my seat area. Delete it. No. Several passengers went still. A bin slammed farther back, then no one moved. Grant reached toward Dana's pocket. She stepped away. What are you doing? Preventing a complaint we can't defend. You don't supervise me. I supervise this cabin with you. Marcus set both hands on his knees. Call the gate agent back. Ask her to come aboard. You do not issue instructions here. Then consider it a request. Dana pressed the cockpit key. Grant said, Dana, don't. The captain answered, What is it? We have a passenger in 2A refusing directions, interfering with boarding, and encouraging others to disregard crew authority. Marcus looked at Grant. Is that what happened? Grant's mouth opened, but nothing came. The captain asked, Ticket valid? Donna touched the folded paper in her pocket. There are irregularities. Grant whispered, No, there aren't. She covered the mouthpiece. Stay out of this. Marcus's phone vibrated. Talia had sent a photograph of an empty front row chair, her coat saving it. Dana uncovered the receiver. I recommend removal before departure. The captain exhaled through static. Document him as non-compliant. Call airport police. Grant stared at the confirmation, then at Marcus. Donna replaced the receiver. Now we're dealing with a security issue. Above them, the seatbelt sign chimed. The seatbelt chime faded, but no one reached for a buckle. Dana lifted the interphone. Airport security, gate 18. One disruptive passenger. Male, seat 2A. Refusing crew instructions. Marcus kept both hands flat on his knees. His coffee had gone cold, leaving a dark ring beneath the cup. Please add that my ticket was confirmed, he said. Dana turned away. He is continuing to interrupt. Grant stared at the folded printout in her pocket. That isn't an interruption. It's a fact. Then explain your opinion later. The captain's voice came through the galley speaker. Close the forward door when security arrives. We are 11 minutes behind. Marcus looked towards the cockpit. Captain Pike, I'd like to speak with you before any decision is made. No answer came. Donna pressed the key. Captain? I heard him. Do not engage further. Elaine unfastened her belt and stood. You haven't spoken to him once. Sit down, ma'am. I watched everything. You're interfering with a safety procedure. I'm offering evidence. Grant moved between them. Mrs. Porter, please sit. Don't make this more complicated. Elaine looked at him. For whom? Grant's collar was dark with sweat. He stepped aside. Noah adjusted his phone against his thigh. The recording dot pulsed in the window. Donna saw it. Turn that off. No. You're obstructing crew duties. I haven't moved. Marcus glanced across the aisle. Keep the frame wide. Include my hands. Noah nodded. Dana returned to the interphone. The passenger is directing others to record and resist instructions. I asked him to preserve what happened, Marcus said. You are escalating. By asking for accuracy? She covered the mouthpiece and faced Grant. Do you want your name in the report, too? His eyes dropped to the carpet. Cold air carried in the smell of rain and fuel. Celeste Morgan appeared at the threshold with a fresh manifest. I printed the confirmation, she said. There's no seat problem. Dana did not take it. We have moved beyond the seat. Celeste looked at Marcus, then at the raised phones. What happened? He became hostile. Elaine pointed toward Noah. Watch the recording before you repeat that. Return to the gate, Dana said. Celeste stayed in the doorway. The paper trembled in the draft. Marcus asked, Ms. Morgan, what time did you confirm my ticket? 7. Oh, enough, Dana cut in. Security is handling it. A thud sounded from the jet bridge. Radio chatter followed. Marcus's phone vibrated on the tray. Talia's name appeared above a message. They're asking where you are. His fingers hovered, then lowered. He would not move one hand while Dana was describing him as dangerous. Grant noticed. You can text her. Not while I'm being called a threat. Grant flinched. 2 uniformed officers appeared beyond the doorway. Dana stepped into the aisle before they crossed the threshold. Passenger is refusing removal, she said. Marcus looked at the untouched phone, then at the confirmation folded in her pocket. No one has asked me to leave. Dana reached toward him. I am asking now. Hand me the phone and stand up. The seatbelt sign chimed a second time. Do not touch my phone, Marcus said. Donna's hand stopped above the tray. Rain rattled against the fuselage. 2 officers waited at the doorway. You were told to surrender the device. No, I was told to put it away. It is down. You are recording crew. I'm not. Noah raised his phone. I am. Dana turned. Delete it. No. Grant stepped closer. Let security handle this. There is nothing to handle, Elaine said. People are documenting you. Dana reached again. Marcus lifted one open palm between her hand and the phone. Stop, he said. Please. For half a second, only the ventilation fan moved. An ice cube shifted inside a cup near the rear. Then Dana struck him across the cheek. The sound cracked through first class. Marcus's head turned toward the window. His shoulder brushed the cold wall panel. The boarding music kept playing. Bright piano over a soft beat. Elaine covered her mouth. Noah stood halfway, camera steady. I got that. One officer stepped forward. Ma'am, back away. Donna pressed a hand to her chest. He lunged. He never left the seat, Elaine said. He raised his hand at me. To block you, Noah answered. You were grabbing his property. Grant stared at Marcus's palm above the tray. Dana. Tell them he refused. Grant looked at the folded seat confirmation in her pocket. Marcus lowered his hand. Heat spread beneath his skin, but his voice stayed even. Officer, I'll cooperate. Preserve every recording before anyone makes another statement. Dana pointed at the door. Remove him. He assaulted a crew member. No, Grant said. She turned. What? He didn't touch you. The older officer looked at Marcus. Sir, stand and come with us while we sort this out. Am I under arrest? Not at this time. May I take my bag? Dana blocked the overhead bin. It stays on board. Marcus looked at the worn leather satchel. The silver watch was inside, wrapped beside Talia's note. That contains property I need today. You should have thought of that before disrupting the flight. Elaine rose. I'll bring it. Sit down. I'm not leaving his family property with you. The younger officer stepped between them. Stay where you are. Marcus unbuckled. The metal tongue struck the armrest. Passengers lowered their eyes as he stood. A man in 1D stared at his hands. A woman near the galley stopped recording when Marcus looked her way. He adjusted his sweater cuff and stepped into the aisle. Noah said, I'll send you the video. Send it to the police first. Dana touched her cheek. He's coordinating witnesses. He's preserving evidence, Elaine said. The officers led Marcus onto the jet bridge. Cold air hit the damp side of his face. Behind him, Grant said, The bag should go with him. Dana answered, The captain ordered removal, not baggage service. The door stayed open. Marcus could see the satchel above seat 2A, its brass clasp catching the cabin light. His phone vibrated. Talia had left a voicemail. At the far end of the jet bridge, the younger officer pointed to a metal bench beneath a flickering tube. Sit there, sir. Marcus sat. The bench pulled warmth through his coat. He pressed play. Dad, the courtroom doors are open. I saved your seat. Dad, the courtroom doors are open. I saved your seat. Talia's voice came through the phone's cracked speaker in static. Marcus sat beneath the flickering tube, while cold from the metal bench climbed through his coat. Rain silvered the runway beyond the glass. He kept the phone to his ear until the message ended. Officer Daniel Hart stood 3 feet away with a tablet. Full name? Marcus Reed. Why did you refuse the crew member's instructions? I asked which rule I had broken. That isn't what I asked. It is what happened. The older officer leaned against the wall. You can explain it downtown. Am I being detained? We're determining that. Then note the time. Hart checked his screen. 7:12. Marcus looked through the glass. 48 minutes until Talia's ceremony. His phone vibrated again, but he left it face down. Grant appeared carrying the worn leather satchel. Dana followed. That bag stays aboard. It belongs to him, Grant said. He was reaching into it. No, it was in the bin. Her head snapped toward him. You're changing your statement. I haven't given one. Hart raised a hand. Bring it here. Grant set the satchel beside Marcus. The brass clasp felt cold. Marcus opened it slowly. What are you taking out? Hart asked. A watch. Nothing else. Marcus unwrapped the silver watch from Talia's folded note. His fingers slipped once on the latch. Donna watched from the doorway. He's stalling. Marcus opened the lid. The second hand moved beneath scratched glass. No, he said. Time is. A boarding announcement floated in from the terminal. His phone lit again. Call me. Then a photograph loaded. Talia in a navy suit beside an empty front row chair, her mother's scarf folded over the back. Marcus called. Talia answered before the first full ring. Dad? I'm still at the gate. You sound strange. There's been a delay. What kind? He looked at the officers, Dana in the doorway, Grant staring at the floor. One I need to handle carefully. Can you take another flight? I don't know yet. Courtroom voices murmured behind her. Someone called her name. They're seating us, she said. I know. You promised. His thumb covered the engraving. I know. The watch ticked against his palm, louder than the rain. I left the chair, she said. Talia. I have to go. The call ended. Marcus lowered the phone. His fingers would not close around the watch, so he set it flat on his knee. Hart cleared his throat. The crew says you threatened operational safety. Ask for the exact words I used. Dana answered. Your posture was threatening. Marcus looked down at his damp coat and rounded shoulders. What posture? You challenged authority in front of passengers. That is not a safety violation. The older officer stepped forward. This ends faster if you stop debating every point. Marcus closed the watch. The click was small, but everyone heard it. Faster for whom? Footsteps approached from the aircraft. Elaine emerged first, Noah behind her with his phone raised. Celeste followed, holding a printed manifest against her chest. We're witnesses, Elaine said. And none of us is getting back on that plane until you hear us. We're witnesses, Elaine said. And none of us is getting back on that plane until you hear us. Daniel Hart looked toward the open aircraft door. One at a time. No, Elaine replied. That's how details disappear. Noah held his phone chest high. One continuous file. Boarding. The seat dispute. The call. The slap. Dana stepped onto the jet bridge. He was filming crew without consent. I filmed my seat area, Noah said. You walked into frame. Celeste moved beside him, the manifest trembling in the cold draft. His ticket was valid. I confirmed it before security was called. Hart extended his hand. Let me see. I'll play it. I'm not surrendering the only copy. The older officer frowned. You think we'd delete evidence? I think rushed people make mistakes. Marcus watched Hart take that in. The fluorescent tube buzzed. Rain tapped the windows, and the silver watch pressed a circle into his palm. Start at the beginning, Hart said. The video showed Dana stopping Marcus at the door. Her voice came thin through the speaker. This says 2A. The green scan appeared, then the email. Then Grant saying, looks valid. That was before he became hostile, Dana said. Noah moved forward. Marcus sat with both hands on his knees while Dana spoke into the interphone. Hart glanced at him. You never stood? Not until your officers asked me to. The recording reached Dana's hand, moving toward the phone. Marcus's open palm rose. The slap cracked from the speaker. Celeste flinched. Grant, just inside the doorway, closed his eyes. Hart replayed the last 3 seconds. You can't judge context from a clip, Dana said. It's 19 minutes, Noah answered. Elaine pointed at Hart's tablet. And your report says he grabbed her. Hart looked down. What did dispatch receive? Marcus asked. Aggressive passenger, physical contact with crew, refusing removal. Was the ticket mentioned? No. Celeste raised the manifest. It should have been. The older officer reached for it. Celeste held on until Hart said, make a copy first. The officers shifted. They no longer stood between Marcus and the aircraft. They turned toward the crew. Hart keyed his radio. Supervisor to Gate 18, possible false or incomplete report. Preserve body camera footage and dispatch audio. Dana's face tightened. You're taking their side because they filmed me. I'm taking the side of a timeline. Grant stepped off the plane. The gate confirmed his seat before the call. Dana stared at him. You told the captain there were irregularities, Grant continued. There weren't. Be careful. I should have been careful earlier. Elaine lowered her arms. Noah saved a duplicate file to cloud storage. Marcus's phone vibrated. Talia's name lit the screen. He turned it face down. Hart noticed. You need to answer? I need this handled correctly. Celeste unfolded a second page beneath the manifest. There's something else. Beside Marcus Reed's name was a municipal security flag, added only for identity verification. Hart read the line twice. His head came up. Lieutenant Alvarez needs to see this now. He raised the radio, and running footsteps filled the jet bridge. Running footsteps struck the jet bridge in an even rhythm. Lieutenant Sofia Alvarez rounded the corner with 3 officers, rain darkening her uniform. She took in the open aircraft door, raised phones, Donna nearby, and Marcus on the metal bench with the silver watch in his hand. Who made the removal call? I did, Dana said. The passenger became aggressive. Sophia looked at Marcus. Her next step stopped. Mr. Mayor? The words traveled farther than a shout. Grant straightened. Celeste lowered the manifest. Faces turned inside the cabin. Marcus did not rise. Before titles, he said, secure the recordings. Sophia recovered at once. Hart, collect witness names. Ruiz? Preserve dispatch audio. No phone is erased or taken out of sight. Dana stared at her. You know him. I know who he is. That should not change procedure. It won't. Marcus opened the watch. The second hand crossed 7:19. Then begin with the report, not with me. Hart handed Sophia his tablet. She read the summary, then watched Noah's video from the seat confirmation to the slap. Cold air carried rain and fuel through the door. At the impact, Sophia paused the recording. You reported contact initiated by the passenger. Donna folded her arms. He raised his hand. The video shows an open palm between you and his phone. He was challenging my authority. That is not the same statement. Captain Owen Pike appeared at the cockpit entrance, tie loosened. "Lieutenant, we have a full aircraft and a departure slot." "Did you speak to the passenger?" "I relied on my lead attendant." "Did you verify the ticket?" "I was told there were irregularities." Grant pulled the folded printout from Dana's apron pocket. "There were none." Dana turned on him. "You had no right." "I had the responsibility." Sophia unfolded the paper. Marcus Reed, Seat 2A, confirmed. "Captain, why was removal approved after this printed?" Pike looked at Dana. "I was not shown that." "Because it was irrelevant by then," Dana said. Elaine stepped closer. "It became irrelevant when it proved him right." Noah raised his phone. "I have the captain saying, 'Document him as non-compliant.'" Pike's jaw tightened. "Recording crew channels may violate policy." "Investigate that after the slap," Marcus said. The captain looked at him. "Mayor Reed, I wasn't aware." "That is the problem." The fluorescent tube buzzed above the bench. Sophia crouched beside Marcus. "Do you want medical attention?" "No." "Special transport to Ashford?" "I want the same facts checked for the next passenger whose name you don't recognize." The silver watch ticked between them. Sophia stood. "Dana Whitmore, you are relieved from duty pending review. Captain Pike, this aircraft stays until every statement is preserved. Grant Bell, remain available." Dana's mouth opened. "You cannot remove me based on a passenger video." "I can remove you from an active cabin while I determine whether your report was false." Inside the plane, seatbelts clicked open. Passengers raised their phones higher. Marcus looked through the terminal glass. On a distant screen, his flight changed from boarding to delayed. Then his phone lit with Talia's name. "They're calling me into the courtroom now." Talia's message remained on the screen. "They're calling me into the courtroom now." Marcus pressed call. She answered in a whisper. "Dad, I'm at the gate." "You said that 20 minutes ago." "Police are taking statements." A door closed behind her with a wooden thud. "Did you do something?" "No." "Then leave." "I can't yet." Rain hissed against the terminal glass. Donna had been moved away, but Grant remained by the aircraft door. The watch felt heavy in Marcus's hand. "Talia, turn the camera." Her view shifted to the front row. A chair remained empty beside her mother's folded scarf. "They're starting," she said. "I know." "You promised." "I know." A clerk called her name. The line went dark. At 7:31, Sophia led Marcus into a small interview room. Fluorescent light flattened the gray walls and metal table. Someone placed a paper cup of water before him. "We need your statement from boarding onward," she said. "My flight?" "Still held. And if it leaves? We'll arrange another." "That does not replace 10 o'clock. Hart switched on a recorder. "State your name." "Marcus Elias Reed." "Occupation?" "Mayor of Belhaven." Hart's fingers paused. Marcus added, "And father." They moved through the scan, the confirmed seat, Dana's call, the demand for his phone, the slap. "Did you threaten her?" Hart asked. "No." "Raise your voice?" "No." "Touch her?" "No." "Why didn't you identify yourself earlier?" Marcus folded the boarding pass along its crease. "Would the ticket have become more valid?" No one answered. Through the wall, Grant gave his account. One sentence came through clearly. The seat was confirmed before police were called. At 8:37, Sophia returned. "The aircraft is departing without you." "Next flight?" 11:40. "The ceremony ends at 11. "We can arrange a car." 4 hours by road. She set a tablet on the table. Talia's office sent a live stream link. The cup of water remained untouched. At 9:59, Marcus propped his phone against it. Talia stood in her navy suit, one hand raised, the other resting on a worn legal book. The audio crackled. "Do you solemnly swear?" Marcus opened the watch. The second hand reached 12 as his daughter said, "I do." Applause burst from the tiny speaker. In the room, only the ventilation fan answered. Talia called after the ceremony. Her smile held until she saw the gray walls. "You missed it." "Yes." "Did they apologize?" "Not yet." "That isn't what I asked." Marcus turned the watch toward the camera. The engraving caught the white light. "I brought it." Her face went still. "Mom wanted you to give me that today." "I know." "Then why are you still there?" "Because if I leave before the record is complete, someone will shorten what happened." People moved behind her, gathering folders. "You always choose the room that needs you most," she said. Marcus looked at the untouched cup. "Today, I chose wrong." Talia touched the empty place on her wrist. "Keep it safe." "I will." "No, keep the promise safe. The watch can wait." The call ended. Sophia entered with a printed incident summary. "They want your signature." Marcus set the watch beside the cup, took the pages, and read the first line aloud. "Passenger became verbally aggressive after being asked to verify his seat," Marcus read. He looked up. "That sentence is false." Sophia took the pages. "Then don't sign." Hart shifted beside the recorder. "It reflects dispatch." "It reflects Dana's wording, not the video." The fluorescent light hummed. Sophia folded the report. "I'm requesting an independent review." 3 days later, Helen Park arrived carrying 2 gray binders. 46, narrow-framed, with silver in her black bob, she placed a recorder between Marcus and Renee. "I investigate sequence," she said. "Not reputation." "Good." Helen played the gate scan beside the cabin audio. The green confirmation sounded at 7:03. Dana's call describing irregularities came at 7:08. Renee leaned forward. 5 minutes later. 4 minutes and 42 seconds. She aligned Noah's video, the cockpit log, dispatch audio, and Hart's body camera. Each file clicked into place on her laptop. "Did the airline preserve internal messages?" Marcus asked. "After a 12-minute delay." "Long enough to edit?" "Long enough to ask why." A week later, Helen called from an archive room. Air conditioning hissed behind her voice. "I found 6 prior complaints involving Dana Whitmore. Similar conduct? Similar language." She read one line. "Passenger became confrontational when asked to clarify eligibility. 4 of the 6 tickets were valid." "What happened to the complaints?" "Closed after crew statements were given greater weight." Marcus rubbed the silver watch in his pocket. "Reopen them." "That widens the review." "It should." The public hearing began on November 18th beneath harsh white lights. Reporters filled the back rows, but Marcus sat without turning toward the cameras. Helen projected the timeline. At 7:03, the seat was confirmed. At 7:06, verification was printed. At 7:08, the captain was told irregularities remained. At 7:10, police were called. Dana's representative rose. "You are reducing a safety event to timestamps. I am testing statements against records." Grant was called next. He approached in uniform and touched the metal badge above his chest. "State your role." "Senior cabin crew." "Did you hear the gate confirm seat 2A?" "Yes." "Did you see the printed confirmation?" "Yes." "Did you tell Captain Pike there were no irregularities?" Grant's fingers stayed on the badge. "No." "Why not?" Dana watched. Pike stared at his hands. Grant unclipped the badge and placed it beside the microphone. Metal struck wood. "I wanted the door closed." Helen waited. I thought correcting her in front of passengers would make things worse. For whom? Marcus asked. Grant looked at him for the first time. For us? A reporter stopped typing. Helen advanced the screen to Marcus, seated with both hands visible. Did he threaten anyone? No. Did he refuse a valid safety instruction? No. Then, why did your statement call him combative? Grant leaned back. The chair creaked. Because once police arrived, telling the truth meant admitting I had watched it happen. Helen closed one binder. On the screen behind him, 6 older complaint numbers appeared beneath Dana Whitmore's name. The 6 complaint numbers stayed on the screen while the hearing room emptied for recess. Dana remained at counsel table, both hands around a paper cup. Captain Pike stood near the exit with his attorney. Grant's badge lay beside the microphone. Helen Park approached Marcus with a sealed envelope. The airline wants to discuss resolution. Publicly? Not yet. Renee opened it. Inside were a compensation figure, an apology, and a confidentiality agreement. Marcus read the first line. We regret that your travel experience did not meet expected standards. He set it down. That is not an apology, Renee said. Helen pointed to the last page. The payment requires silence about internal findings. Marcus folded the agreement once. What happens to the 6 earlier complaints? They remain under review. Under whose control? The company's. Then nothing is resolved. That afternoon, Dana testified. Her voice stayed level until Helen replayed the gate confirmation. You heard this before contacting the cockpit? Yes. Why report irregularities? His behavior changed the situation. What behavior? He questioned me repeatedly. The ventilation clicked off. A reporter's pen scraped across paper. Did he threaten you? No. Did he touch you? No. Did you strike him? Donna's fingers tightened on the table. Yes. Captain Pike testified next. I relied on my lead attendant. Did you request the passenger's account? Helen asked. No. Review the ticket confirmation? No. Ask Grant Bell whether the seat was valid? No. What did you verify? Pike adjusted his tie. The departure delay. Elaine lowered her eyes. Noah stopped typing. 2 weeks later, a 43-page report arrived. Dana had falsified the sequence and was terminated. Grant was removed from senior cabin duties and assigned retraining. Pike entered command review for authorizing removal without direct verification. Renee read the summary in Marcus's office while Rain tapped the glass. They're offering more money. Same condition? Same condition. A handwritten letter rested beside the agreement. Dana's sharp script crossed the page. I told myself I was protecting the cabin. I was protecting my pride. Marcus read it twice, then placed the letter beside the unsigned document. Renee asked, Do you believe her? I believe she finally wrote one true sentence. You could sign, fund Talia's legal clinic, and still push quietly. Quietly is how 6 complaints disappeared. Helen joined by video. Publishing the report will trigger appeals. Let them appeal the facts. They'll argue privacy. Redact personal data. Publish decisions, timelines, and failures. Renee slid the pen toward him. Then reject it. Marcus crossed out the signature line and wrote, Declined pending full public disclosure. His phone buzzed. Talia had written, Did they finally say what happened? Marcus photographed the unsigned agreement. Not yet, he typed. But they will. At 4:17 p.m., Helen received authorization to release the report. By sunset, every closed complaint had been reopened, and the first headline used a phrase Donna could no longer control. Verified ticket. False report. At 8:30 the next morning, the report sat open on screens in the conference room. Marcus stood beside a whiteboard while Helen Park read the first recommendation. Verify the ticket before labeling conduct. Renee tapped the page. Too soft. It is measurable, Helen said. It is also obvious. Marcus closed the silver watch in his palm. Obvious rules failed because no one had to prove they followed them. Sophia Alvarez slid forward a police draft. Any onboard conflict gets body camera activation before contact. Dispatch records the crew's exact words. And witnesses? Marcus asked. Named before removal. Required unless there is immediate danger. Sophia nodded. I can defend that. By noon, airline executives, crew representatives, police, and advocates filled a training room above the gates. The air smelled of markers and burnt coffee. A cabin interphone had been mounted beside a laminated card. Grant Bell stood in back without his senior badge. An instructor pointed to the card. Confirm documents. Separate disagreement from threat. Preserve witnesses. State the reason for removal on camera. A supervisor raised his hand. What if the passenger keeps questioning us? Marcus answered from the wall. A question is not a threat. Record the words. Dinah's union representative, Martin Shaw, folded his arms. Crews need discretion. They will have it, Helen said, but discretion will leave a trail. You're building policy around one incident. Marcus opened a folder. 7 incidents. 1 became visible. Grant lowered his eyes. The afternoon session moved into a mock cabin. A trainee challenged a passenger's seat, then reached for a phone. Stop, the instructor said. What did you skip? The trainee glanced at the laminated card. Ticket verification. And? Witness check. And? She swallowed. I turned disagreement into danger. Grant stepped forward. Run it again. You're not scheduled, the instructor said. I should have been trained before I was trusted to lead. This time, Grant played the crew member. He checked the seat, called the gate, and returned the phone untouched. Your ticket is valid, he told the actor. I'm sorry for the delay. The sentence landed harder than applause. 2 weeks later, the airport authority approved quarterly audits of every forced removal. Complaint numbers would be given before passengers left the gate. Independent reviewers would examine disputed reports. Sophia added one line to the police order. No status, occupation, or public office may affect the standard of verification. She handed it to Marcus. This protects people who aren't recognized. That is the only version worth signing. At Gate 18, technicians replaced the old card beside the interphone. The laminated checklist clicked into its frame. Marcus watched from the doorway with Talia on video. That's where they made the call? She asked. Yes. And now? Now the next person gets a question before a conclusion. A boarding agent tested the interphone. Its tone sounded once, clean and sharp. Marcus touched the watch through his coat, but did not open it. Beneath the 4 required steps, one sentence appeared in black type. Dignity is not evidence of noncompliance. 6 months later, Marcus returned to Gate 18 beside Talia. Morning light stretched across the terminal floor, warm instead of gray. The same interphone hung beside the aircraft door, but a laminated checklist now framed it. Verify the ticket. Name the concern. Record the reason. Preserve witnesses. A small camera light blinked above the desk. Talia adjusted the cuff of her navy suit. You're staring. I'm checking whether anything changed. A gate agent nearby faced a black passenger holding a disputed boarding pass. She scanned it twice, called a supervisor, and said, Your seat is valid. I'm sorry for the delay. No raised voices. no hands reaching for a phone. The line moved again. Marcus exhaled through his nose. "That enough?" Talia asked. "It's a start." They sat by the window while rainwater dried in pale marks on the glass. Marcus opened his leather satchel and removed the silver watch. The cloth around it had been folded so many times that its edges had softened. Talia touched the scratched lid. "You kept it wound." "Every day." He fastened it around her wrist. The clasp resisted, then clicked shut. "For our next important day," she read from the engraving. Her first major court argument began in 2 hours. This time, Marcus had arrived before her. Across the concourse, Elaine Porter waved from a cafe table. After the hearing, she had begun training volunteers on how to document public incidents without interfering. Noah Kim's recording had become part of the airport's mandatory instruction, though his name appeared nowhere on the training screen at his request. Celeste Morgan had been promoted to shift supervisor after investigators confirmed that she had preserved the manifest and challenged the false report. Grant Bell completed 6 months of retraining and returned without a senior title. On his first week back, he filed a report correcting a colleague before a passenger was removed. Captain Owen Pike lost command status during review and was reassigned to ground operations pending recertification. Dana Whitmore's dismissal was upheld on appeal. Her written apology remained in the public file beside the timeline she had once tried to change. None of them disappeared. They lived with decisions that could now be read in full. At City Hall, the quarterly oversight report arrived that afternoon. Forced removals had fallen by nearly half. Every disputed case included body camera footage, ticket verification, and a witness log. 2 removals had been reversed before police reached the gate. Renee placed the report on Marcus's desk. "The airline wants you at the press conference." "No. They'll say the reforms worked." "The records can say it." She studied him. "Talia's hearing?" "Front row." Renee smiled and turned the coffee cup so its handle faced him, just as she had that first morning. At 10 o'clock, Marcus sat beneath the courthouse clock. Talia stood before the judge, the silver watch visible at her wrist each time she lifted a page. When she finished, the room stayed quiet for one breath. Then the judge nodded. Outside, Talia found him on the courthouse steps. "You made it." "I did." She held up her wrist. The second hand moved steadily beneath the scratched glass. Marcus touched the watch once, then let his hand fall. This time, the empty chair belonged to no one. Have you ever seen someone's dignity questioned because an authority figure chose assumption over facts? Share what happened in the comments, especially if a witness, recording, or small act of courage changed the outcome. Pass this story to someone who believes justice should protect people before their name, title, or status becomes known. Quiet support can preserve the truth when a room has decided to look away. Subscribe for more stories about justice, quiet resilience, accountability, and the systemic changes that follow when ordinary people refuse to stay silent. Every thoughtful comment and shared story helps keep these conversations alive and reminds us that fair procedures matter most when no one important appears to be watching.